All right, ladies and gents, let me plug the joint right quick. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. Again, check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. Let me just say this to all you guys. Women are not responsible for your feelings. Women are not responsible for your emotions. So what I mean by that is if you start to care about her, right? Or you start to like her, right? And let's say you're having these feelings that you feel are very, very intense. Women are not obligated to reciprocate those feelings. Women are not obligated to validate those feelings. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. I'm gonna hit y'all with a word, right? Emotional dependency, or not a word, a phrase, or a term. Emotional dependency. Now, when it comes to emotional dependency, this is not gender specific. Both men and women have an issue with this. And when you're dating new people, it's very evident that they have emotional dependency. And for me, that's a turnoff. I don't like women who are emotionally dependent or codependent, right? Emotional dependency is an unhealthy reliance on another person to meet one's emotional needs, resulting in a loss of self worth and emotional instability. It is characterized by a constant need for validation, a fear of loneliness, and the inability to cope with feelings independently. What does that mean? When you cannot cope with your feelings independently, right? That means you don't know what it's like to actually live in solitude. Okay. And that doesn't mean that you don't have social interactions with people. No, just mentally and emotionally, you live a life of solitude, right? Meaning mentally and emotionally, you are stabilized. You don't need other people to make you feel good. So the inability to cope with feelings independently means you're always searching for people outside of you to make you feel good. You don't know how to make yourself feel good, right? And women are notorious for this. This is why they talk about that love language bullshit and that loving you correctly. All of that shit is basically them wanting a man to service their emotions, right? That's all that is. And women are notorious for that, right? Again, check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. Okay, I've told you guys this before. There is nothing wrong with caring about a woman. There is nothing wrong with loving a woman. I personally, I am an adorer of women. I have adored plenty of women in my lifetime. Google the word adored. I have adored. I'm not even going to say love. I have adored many of women in my lifetime. However, what I do not let happen is my feelings to supersede my logic. Meaning, although I can have feelings for a woman, I can have an emotional connection, a profound emotional connection, even with a woman. What I will never do is allow those feelings to be the main motivating factors for my choices. So when I say men lose power by letting feelings lead, when you are mainly motivated to make decisions and choices when it comes to the women that you deal with and your feelings and all of that, sex and how the woman looks, all of that. When you are mainly motivated to make decisions and choices behind those superficial, shallow things, Okay, you give your power away. You forfeit your power to women. You can never deal with a woman on your terms by doing that. And most men, regardless of how much money they got, in fact, I would say that guys who got money are even worse with this shit because they have this false sense of security with their money. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. So I also want to hit y'all with this real quick, right? Let me just read this to y'all real quick. A lot of men's desire to have sex with women is rooted more in the desire for affection and companionship than simply an enjoyable sexual experience. They delude themselves that they just want sex. What does that mean? A lot of guys out loud, they say a lot of shit about, man, I just want to have sex. I just want to indulge in casual sex encounters. I'm not looking for anything serious. Okay, this is what they say. Okay, they delude themselves that they just want sex. And I said this before. In order for you to navigate the hookup culture or the casual sex world or dating world casually, or the casual dating world, in order for you to navigate that, okay, you have to be emotionally unavailable. It doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that you can't cultivate, very profound feelings for a woman. But when it comes to just engaging in casual sex, okay, you have to be emotionally unavailable. But most guys don't know how to do that because they are insecure, because they do have low self esteem, because they do lack self assurance. So whenever women are giving them attention, especially sex, they lean into that and they just immerse themselves in those feelings that they're getting with the women. And they just go with the flow. So there's no logic, there's no pragmatism, there's no practicality to the choices that y'all guys make. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. I'll give you a prime example, right? When you watch YouTube or you checking out IG or Facebook, right? You see a lot of guys talking about um having issues with a girlfriend who dresses a certain way, or having issues with um, a girlfriend who lives a party lifestyle, right? Or they talk about, I don't like that my girlfriend has male friends, right? Right. Or I got a problem with my girl being a stripper. I'm trying to get her to quit. So my point in saying all that is this: look at the title. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. So what happens is guys will meet women, and most of you who are listening right now are very guilty of this. Most men are guilty of this. You guys will meet women, and there will be things about their lifestyle that you don't like, right? You're still sexually attracted to this woman. You want to have sex with her. But a lot of you guys, what you will tell yourself is this: because she got that going on, all it can ever be is sex. That's what you say. But then you start having sex with the babe and you get all caught up in your feelings. Now, the very thing that you was like, man, I can't take this girl serious because of that, right? That very thing, you kind of push that to the side because you're so captivated by how she looks. You're so enamored and captivated by the sex and how you feel, your feelings, right? So then before you know it, all those things that you said, man, I would never get into a relationship with her because of that. Now those things are bothering you. Now you're complaining to her about those very things. Bro, those things existed before you got there. Why is it a problem now? It's a problem now because you are letting your feelings lead you. And because you feel some kind of way about those things, right? When she had male friends before, right? You was fucking other chicks. Those male friends didn't bother you. But now that you got feelings, you looking at her like, I don't like the fact that you talk to your male friends. She looking at you like, I've been doing this. Yeah, but you talk to them too much. And what you're really doing, what you're telling her is, I'm feeling insecure and jealous. So can you stop doing that? Because I need for you to service my emotions, right? I have these feelings that you didn't create within me. I created these own negative feelings within myself. And now I want you to make choices in your life so I can feel better. So I don't feel jealous and insecure no more. And that's what happens when you allow your feelings to guide you and lead you. Because logically, if you see a chick who has a certain lifestyle that's not compatible with your own, logically, you can never date her seriously, right? So when you guys see posts and guys are in relationships or marriages and they're complaining about something that a woman is doing, and you realize, wait a minute, that thing you're complaining about, she was doing that shit when you guys first met, and you still made her your girl anyway. And then after you made her your girl, you go about trying to eradicate those things that you don't like. That's not real compatibility. Real compatibility doesn't require you to try and make the woman change anything that was pre-existing before you got there, right? The only thing a woman will need to change is any behavior presently that's not suitable for you. But if she got something pre-existing in her life, like children, male friends, the fact that she's a sex worker, whatever it is, when you deal with that woman, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like buying a car, right? When you buy a used car, they say, as is, nigga, as is. So understand that. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. So I'm gonna hit y'all with a couple of things on the way out. And if any one of these things remind you of you, you have emotional dependency issues. You have a codependent spirit about you, right? Where you seek acceptance, you seek validation, okay? And you're probably a people pleaser, right? Emotional dependency. This is for all you men and women listening. Lack of self esteem, fear of abandonment, constant need for assurance, possessive nature, anxiety, avoiding uncomfortable feelings. Now you got to communicate and address shit. Obsessive need for control. When we talk about masculine influence, we're not talking about control, right? When you try and tell women how to dress, when you try and tell her whether or not she can take girl trips, that's control. Because if she was doing those things before you met her and you don't like it, why make her your girl, right? Again, obsessive need for control. And all you're trying to do is protect your feelings and your insecurities. That's what you're trying to do, right? You idealize the relationship. You make it more special than what it really is. That's what it means to idealize something. Like for instance, women like to idealize love, and some men do too. They like to idealize or romanticize shit to make it bigger or more special than what it really is in reality, right? Now, emotional dependence, fear of loneliness, fear of losing love. Oh yeah. For a lot of men and women, that feeling of love or being loved is a motherfucking crutch. They need that shit like crack, right? Having difficulty trusting them. See, I don't trust women, but I trust myself to choose the right women. I trust that women will be women. They will be the imperfect creatures that they are. Just like men, we're all imperfect. And I trust imperfect people to make decisions that I might not like, right? Now, jealousy. Your happiness depends on them. Emotional dependency. That's what the fuck you are. Emotionally dependent. A lack of emotional permanence. And I'm going to finish it with this. A lack of emotional permanence. What does that mean? That means the ability to maintain a consistent sense of self and trust in your relationships, even when emotions fluctuate. What does that mean? That means even when the people you love or care about aren't present, they're out of town, they are away from you. right? And your emotions are fluctuating. You're missing them, you think about them, right? Can you maintain a sense of self and regulate your emotions? Okay, same thing. When a relationship is over and you checking her social media, right? You're trying to reach back in the past and recycle women, right? You have a lack of emotional permanence. You feel like you need her energy or you need to be around her for you to feel good, right? Always in a relationship. Y'all know motherfuckers like that? They get out of one relationship and then a couple months later they right back into a new one, right? These motherfuckers are emotionally dependent. That shit is mad unhealthy, right? Depression. And depression is a state of mind, right? Seeking constant approval. Tendency to toxic relationships. For all you guys, men and women, are you always in relationships that are toxic? Are you always in situations that just seem like they're full of drama? You have emotional dependency issues. Check your emotions, not her text. How men lose power by letting feelings lead. I don't care how much you love a woman, how much you like her. I don't care how much you like the sex. You never allow your feelings or your emotions for that woman or towards that woman guide you in your choices. No, you have to take a step back and say, does it make sense for me to make these choices or this choice with this particular woman? Peace.